This is a very rare cancer, as you said, which is, it's called ALK positive, and ALK is it's a gene which is present in all of us, but for some unknown trigger it switches on in some people, and it leads to this uncontrolled replication of cells, which we commonly understand as cancer. But also in simpler terms, it is known as non-smokers cancer, because the tendency when you have a cancer originating from the lungs, which is where this one originates, there is a tendency to think that it is just linked to smoking, but in this case this one happens pretty much exclusively in non-smokers. And also in women have a higher predisposition to this particular type of cancer. Younger women have a higher predisposition as well, because if you look at lung cancer in general, it happens in older people. Yeah. But in this one, the demographic is much younger. And women of Southeast Asian descent as well are particularly prone. I was physically, completely fit. I had no symptoms, and obviously somebody so young, a non-smoker, you're never going to think of lung cancer. That's the last thing that you think of. That's the last thing that doctors think of. So, frankly, none of the doctors along the way also ever kind of came up with even the possibility that I could have something like this. So it was only when I fell very sick last year, but all my symptoms were actually liver related, because by then the cancer had already spread to the liver and various other parts of the body. So in my case, it's what we call stage 4, or metastatic, which means that from its origin, which is the lung, it has actually spread to different organs in the body. So the symptoms that I had last year were all liver related. I had loss of appetite, and I was losing weight, and I had nausea and vomiting, and so when all that kind of continued, and test after test was not giving any conclusive result, then of course I had to have a biopsy. Even the doctors were very surprised, because you're not expecting this, like I said, in somebody who's otherwise physically very fit. But I think, like I said, we really don't know the reasons why something like this gets triggered in someone. And so it could be anything from air pollution to any kind of mental trauma that you might be dealing with. I mean, we really don't know. We need more research to be able to answer these questions. Cancer, when we say, is not one disease, it's like 200 different diseases. There's so many subtypes, and even within a type of cancer, there's different varieties that somebody can be suffering from. So even the treatments are widely varying, right from, like you said, surgery to radiation to chemotherapy to now what we also call targeted therapy, and that is the kind of treatment I am on. Where you take oral tablets every day. So I have to take these every single day, and they specifically target the particular cancer that I have. So that's the treatment I am on. But yeah, like I said, every type, and actually every individual, even with the same type of cancer, could be on different types of treatment. This cancer right now, unfortunately, perhaps because it is such a rare cancer, that we have not reached a point where we have any kind of cure for this cancer, and therefore we actually need more research as well for cancers like this, because the numbers are increasing. Even though we are saying it's rare today, but actually even if you speak to doctors, and I've spoken to many obviously, and they say the numbers are going up. So we do need more research into how do we obviously improve someone's lifespan with this. But as of now, as things stand, you have to till you're alive, basically you have to be on medication. But also the one challenge is that the cancer often becomes resistant to a particular type of medication you're on, so then you have to switch medications, and we only have so many options available. So we need many more options in order to be able to prolong someone's lifespan. Mentally, it's been very difficult, and I think that is actually one of the areas we don't focus on enough when it comes to cancer, because we just look at the physical kind of manifestations of that disease and the symptoms and how do you treat it, and but the impact it has on you mentally, psychologically, even socially, your relationships, everything, changes. Your life completely turns around on its head. And so for me, like, in the few months after my diagnosis, I mean, I was in a state of complete shock, and I was just unable to even understand what had hit me, and I was in severe depression, and of course anxiety and suicidal ideation. I had all of that, because suddenly you're hit with this, just at such a young age, something completely out of the blue, completely unexpected. And you're staring it down at this prospect of, your life could be over any time, or it's certainly been very curtailed. So it's shocking for anyone. I mean, I think anybody in this shoes would be completely unable to, handle something like this. Seeking help is something which is really important, and if that means, because I think for a lot of people who are dealing with chronic physical conditions, cancer or anything else, there are a lot of other chronic conditions that people are living with, and it's always, like I said, the emphasis is on the physical part, and we really forget about our mental and emotional and social and all those kind of aspects. So I would say that let's not be ashamed to reach out for help and support, and if you're on the other side, where you are dealing with somebody who has a condition like this, then you must just reach out to them, and even if all you can do is just listen to them, that's a great service.